Today, I want to talk a little bit about a framework that is really essential to the club, and we call this the Barbell Strategy. And I think it's best to articulate this into like how most of us got to where we are in business. A lot of us, we start out in corporate jobs, and if you're anything like me, you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you read or listened to all these podcasts on Bigger Pockets, and you were sort of indoctrinated with the best marketing message, in my opinion, that's ever been told, which is that you can acquire a bunch of passive income through real estate. You can use that to leave your job to have financial freedom. Now, I'm not saying that that's not true, but what I am saying is maybe it's a little bit more nuanced than that, and maybe it's not as simple as just collecting a bunch of rental properties and then all of a sudden you now have the ability to not work. In fact, I don't think that the majority of the people who are at least part of the club are interested in just retiring. But we bought this hook, line, and sinker. I think most of us were caught in corporate jobs that we really maybe didn't enjoy, or we wanted different things for our life. We do want a certain level of freedom. And that marketing message of, hey, you can just collect a bunch of rental properties and then you can retire, that sounded like music to most of our ears. So what do? We go out and we buy rental properties, or we try to start a business, and we use that to leave our job. And the first thing that happens when you leave your job is now you've got this lion chasing you, right? And that lion is fear. It's like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to provide the life that I want for whether it's your spouse or your family or something like this? But we have obligations to create income. So we go out and we start doing everything. We try short-term rentals, we try long-term rentals, we try wholesaling, we try flipping. There's a million things. And in that first, let's call it 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're going around and you're trying a million different things. And I think the other thing that I want to say is that we were presented with that marketing message during a time in the market where that actually was doable. And the problem is that as interest rates have, gone up, as the terrain has shifted, like the conditions under which that marketing message was sold to us, they don't really exist anymore. Again, I'm not suggesting you can't acquire rental properties and create passive income doing that, but it's just a little different now. And I think my perspective on it is, as you go through those first 3 to 4 years, you start to get a sense for what you like. You get a sense for what you don't like. You start finding your sweet spot in business. And what a lot of us are looking for, when I say passive income, I think I'm more interested in reliable income. So you can certainly get reliable income through rental properties and things like this, but once you've been in the business for that amount of time, you have the resources, you have the connections, you have access to capital and things like this. And my opinion is you should start trying to align with the two different sides of the barbell. One side being what I just call service-based businesses. The applications of that are infinite, really. Service could come through, let's say it's coaching, or maybe it's property management, or maybe it's being a realtor, or an attorney, or a lender. I mean, like I said, the applications are infinite. I chose to take my heavy investment-based business and start moving it more towards a construction business, working with homeowner clients. Here's what I love about those businesses. They are way more fulfilling. You get to sort of figure out the type of person you want to solve problems for. In my case, that was, I love designing beautiful homes. I love doing this construction, taking something and, giving someone their dream kitchen, or turning a house into an amazing, the best house on the lot, or on the street. So I don't know. I think about the sweet spot really being aligned with the person that you want to serve. And after you've been in the business for a while, you really get to have a sense for who you like to work with, what problems you want to solve. And at the beginning, you kind of got to go out and try a bunch of stuff. But what I'm suggesting is, after a certain amount of time in the business, you want to start shifting that heavy, let's just say volume-based or heavy investment-based business more towards service, for a lot of reasons. One, because it's more fulfilling. You get to work with the type of client, you get to serve the type of person you want, solve the problems that you want for those types of people, and it's way more repeatable. The service-based side maybe doesn't have as high of upside. You're not going to get these giant rips like you do in an investment company, but it's way more reliable. So the idea is we want to get that service-based business to fund the lifestyle that we want on our terms and on our timeline. Once you have that level of reliability, it puts you at in such a tremendous position to invest more opportunistically. Again, when you've been in the business for a certain amount of time, you have connections, you have access to certain deals. You don't need to do a volume of deals. You can do, my opinion is it's 3 to 5. Typically, bigger deals each and every year. For some people, it's 10 to 15. Some people, it's only 1. But those types of opportunities, they already exist for you. And you can step into those by getting yourself to a place where you have your lifestyle funded, you have the types of currencies that you're trying to get more of. You're conserving as much energy as possible, not because we want to sit on the beach and do nothing all day, but because most of us like to play business like a sport. And real estate is the best environment and arena for that, in my opinion. You can move from, let's say, small residential deals to larger residential deals, to small commercial deals, to larger commercial deals. You can stair step up like that. My approach is not to try to go from 5 deals a year to 10 to 20 to 40 and on and on and on. Like, where does that actually end? My opinion is figure out that sweet spot for the number of deals you want to do, and then each year grow doing better and bigger deals. That comes through relationships. That comes through a process of what we call receivership. That is from one of my coaches, Dr. Jeff Spencer. And these opportunities are all around you. But the problem is that most of us stay in that level 1 where you get into business and now you're gripping, you're firefighting, you're white knuckling, trying to force this investment-based business. And you don't need to do a volume-based investment business. You can shift slowly to align with one side of the barbell or the other, one side being that service-based business. It's a passion for the person that you want to work with, the person that you want to serve. That business can grow. It has long-term utility. You can sell it one day. And it positions you to do bigger and better real estate deals because you don't need any deals, right? When you have to do deals, sometimes it becomes a stressful roller coaster. When you have this stable, reliable business, that's where your focus lies. You're working on getting better at your craft each and every day, not trying to scale, right? Your business will grow as you continue to get better every day at honing your craft, serving your ideal client. And that positions you to be in receivership to these bigger deals. But it's a relationship game. You've got to get into connection networks like the club or other networks that are out there, because those things moving up the market, they happen through who's, not how's. I'm a big fan of that book, Who Not How. I mean, it's just how business is done. So that's my perspective on the barbell. After you've been in the business for a certain amount of time, you have all the ingredients to start narrowing the focus. I believe that should come through a service-based business. The applications of that are infinite. It really comes down to your unique value in the marketplace and who you can serve better than anybody else. When you have that level of reliability, you become such a dangerous investor because you don't need deals. You can collaborate. You can do the same amount of deals each and every year by doing bigger and better ones. So, like I said, I'm a huge advocate for the barbell strategy, and we're going to talk about some ways that we can start aligning with these sides, how to start shifting your business out of the middle of the bar, that very volatile back and forth, right? We want to move it to one side or the other. So we're going to talk more about that here going forward, but that's a little bit about the barbell.